Hello, everyone. Today, let us nurture wisdom within the mind, within the life element that is formless, empty, and radiantly pure, so that we may be free from suffering once and for all, never again returning to attachment toward any body or form. To no longer revolve in the cycle of suffering is something we must realize completely, with our whole heart. I have no doubt about this anymore. For many decades, I searched for a way to be liberated, to be free from suffering and from the endless cycle of birth and death. More than 10 years ago, I came to a realization. The conditioned nature within, this very voice that speaks right now, is the one that fabricates everything. It is this voice that creates all stories. Seeing more deeply, I understood that not understanding this conditioned nature and clinging to it through ignorance is the root of all delusion. At first, I only saw that this voice fabricates everything, that it is the source of all. But as I continued to observe thoughts and the inner voice speaking within, I saw that even the one who knows and sees is itself just another natural phenomenon. Then awakening arose, realizing that there is no me in any of these activities at all. The voice is merely nature. Knowing is also merely nature. Neither has any owner. In that very instant, everything shattered and dissolved completely from the mind. What I had depended on for so long collapsed. It was as if I had discovered that this robot I once believed to be me was never myself. The voice that spoke was only a program. The mental images, emotions of happiness and sadness, of liking and disliking, all of these that I relied on and identified with as me, were nothing but functions of the program. I once thought memory was mine, that hearing was mine, that seeing, smelling, tasting, and touching were mine. But none of these ever belonged to anyone. They were all part of the robot and its program. When this truth was seen, everything exploded, a total dissolution of all previous understanding. The robot shattered, the program shattered, and what remained was only vast, pure emptiness, clear and boundless, one with the entire elemental universe. This pure element is the primordial source of all things. It does not move. It neither comes nor goes. It has never been born and will never decay. It is the original element, the zero element, timeless, beyond all dimensions. It is the fundamental reality that existed before anything ever arose, what may be called the cosmic element. This element existed before even the first star appeared. It is not dark, not bright, simply clear, pure, and utterly refined. In its purity, there is no trace of suffering. Nothing can create it, and nothing can ever destroy it. When realization opened to this pure element, tears fell. I saw that we have never truly been born into this world. How could such knowing ever be explained for ordinary humans to understand? All beings believe themselves to be human, while this body, which we rely on, lasts only a short while before it decays and dies. Yet one nature never dies, never disintegrates. Our mind, the pure element, has never been anything at all. Oh, tears fell again. What have we been searching for? What have we been deluded by? Why have we competed, harmed, and destroyed one another? Why have we been angry, hateful, and vengeful? Do we not see? Nothing truly exists as a self. Happiness is only a passing state, an appearance that arises and dissolves. No one owns happiness. Suffering, too, is merely an appearance that arises and fades away. No one owns suffering. Both are just moods, conditions that come and go. Pleasure and displeasure, calm and indifference. All these are transient states. They appear and disappear, belonging to no one. They are deceiving by nature, like the wind that blows and passes, like warm air that comes and goes, like cool air that passes through. None of these ever touch or affect the pure, empty, radiant foundation, the original element that is the source of all things. Do you know that we have never truly had a form? This truth is difficult for humans to accept because we have long believed that we must exist as human beings, that this shape, this body, is who we are. Yet this body is not truly ours. No matter how well we care for it, how much we pamper it, it will still decay and die. We may exercise, eat carefully, and protect it in every way, but in the end, it perishes. The body has only a limited lifespan, just like a plate of food that remains fresh for only 12 hours before it spoils, or like a piece of fruit that lasts just a single day. The body too has its own expiry. It cannot last long, perhaps not even until this evening. We are unimaginably fortunate to have the chance to dwell in this vessel, far more fortunate than winning 1,000,000 first prizes in the lottery. To be born in a human body is an extraordinary opportunity, because only through this form can one come to understand the truth of existence. Yet from birth, no one, not our parents, teachers, or elders, has ever pointed this out to us, that this body is not who we are. We are the mind, the life element, which is formless, clear, and profoundly pure. This body is merely a temporary vessel in which we dwell for a while, and soon it too will die. Even the voice that speaks right now, the voice through which communication happens, that voice is not us. It is simply a natural vibration, a movement of the mind used as a means of expression. In truth, what we call mind is nameless. It is the life element, formless, clear, and boundlessly pure. This element is the primordial essence. The voice is merely one expression of that original element within us. Mental images, too, are expressions of it. When you think of an elephant, for example, that image appearing in the mind is simply a manifestation of the life element. Likewise, all emotions, pleasure and displeasure, calmness or indifference, are just expressions of the same living element. Even the act of knowing, or remembering, or recognizing sound, all of these occur naturally on their own. They know and remember by themselves. So where, then, is the self? Look carefully. There is no me in any of these experiences. The reason the life element temporarily inhabits this vessel is to make use of it as an instrument for expression and learning. Without such instruments of fabrication and perception, it could never recognize itself. The pure, empty, radiant essence cannot know itself directly, because it has no movement, no vibration, no sound. The pure element does not waver. It has no image, no emotion, no memory, no act of knowing, nothing at all. It is utterly still, peaceful, and serene. It is the origin, the foundation of all that exists. Try imagining that this body disappears. What remains? There is the voice. Remove the voice. What remains? Perhaps mental imagery. Now erase the image you imagine. What remains? Emotions. Erase all emotions, pleasure and displeasure, calm and neutrality. Remove them completely. What remains then? Memory. Remove memory as well. What remains now? The act of knowing itself. Remove even this knowing. Then nothing remains. That very nothingness is what we truly are. The life element, formless, empty, clear, and utterly pure. When realization dawned upon me in this way, it remained constant from that moment onward. There was no longer any sense of speaking, no feeling that this is sound. The seeing was direct, seeing that what humans call sound is simply a designation, a label given to a certain movement of nature. It is not truly sound. We have been relying on this movement all our lives, without ever realizing it. We rely on this inner voice. We think, we imagine, we replay thoughts endlessly until it turns into suffering. We think until we create illnesses, migraine, nervous disorders, depression, insomnia, bipolar disorder, acid reflux, stomach ulcers. We think until we stress ourselves into disease, sometimes even into cancer or madness itself. We play endlessly with thoughts, yet few realize that the voice constantly speaking inside, or even the voice coming from my mouth now, is nothing more than a tool, a medium I use to communicate. And what I wish to tell you is this: the very voice you have been relying on, living with, and listening to all your life, it has no self. It has never truly existed as anyone at all. When realization dawned that this very voice creates all things, everything changed. Even the word wall. Look closely. This object does not speak, yet the voice says, wall. Touch it with your hand. There is only the feeling, the knowing of contact. When you look at it, there is only the knowing of seeing. When you hear a sound, there is only the knowing of hearing. What is known is not sound itself. It is merely something known. The image that appears is also just something known. When a smell arises, it is simply known. It is not called fragrance or odor. When you taste food, there is only knowing. It does not inherently mean sweet, sour, or salty. There is only knowing as it is. All of these gain meaning only because thought assigns meaning to them. We rely on thought to label and interpret everything, and thus we become accustomed to using inner voices and concepts to give value and identity to what arises. If we simply see that the inner voice, the one constantly speaking and thinking within, is speaking by itself, an awakening spark may arise. Ah, so it is this very voice that has been assigning meaning to everything since birth. When this realization flashes open, tears fall, tears of joy and release. From birth until this very moment, everything we have believed has been a creation of our own thoughts. The truth is, we have never truly been born into this world at all. What exists now is only this condition called sound, and this condition called knowing. Right now, can you see? We are aware of hearing sounds. You do not need to try to listen or practice mindfulness to hear. It is known naturally. It hears by itself because it has a mind. If we were to remove the mind from the body right now, the body would collapse instantly and decay. With ears, it could not hear. The heart would stop beating. The brain would lose all function, unable to think or remember. The mouth could not speak. The arms and legs could not move. The eyes could not see. The tongue could not taste. The body could not feel warmth or cold. Even if someone struck it with a stick, it would not know. No matter how loudly you shout into its ears, it would not hear. This physical form, this lump of elements, is like a piece of wood. No matter how much you try to talk to a tree stump, it cannot respond, for it has no mind dwelling within it, no life element animating it. But when the mind, the life element, takes residence in the body becomes alive. When sound strikes the ear, knowing arises naturally. There is no need to intend to hear. It knows on its own. Who can see this truth? It is simple, so very simple. If you see that the knowing happening right now is knowing by itself, spontaneously, then ask, where is the me in this? What are we searching for? Why do we hold anger, hatred, and resentment? In truth, there is no me in this world at all. That is why I say, if one truly realizes the mind, humanity could live together in peace and harmony. The very essence of world peace would emerge naturally, for everyone would speak only of the mind, of this seeing, this knowing. we would all clearly see that the body is not truly a body, but merely something, a mass of elements that has no name. Whether we call it a body or something else, it remains nameless. It is simply that which feels, that which senses. It feels through this body, but what truly knows and feels is the mind itself. There is only the experience of feeling, the simple, silent knowing of life through this form. Whenever something comes into contact with this body, there is only knowing. We might call it feeling. It is simply knowing in this way. Look at your own hand, the front, the back. Open it, close it, move it. There is only knowing, effortless and wordless. It does not speak or say anything. It just knows in a quiet, spacious way. This knowing happens without anyone who knows. It is empty, empty of self. If you observe this knowing carefully, without using thought or the brain, you can close your eyes and see for yourself. The moment the eyes close, where has the body gone? Don't think, don't imagine. There is only knowing, quietly so. It knows without speaking. It knows without any story. It knows by itself. Notice this carefully. It knows by itself. There is no me in anything, and yet it knows. It knows that there is life, but this life has no form. We are the life element, formless, empty, clear, and profoundly pure. One with the radiant space before us, blended seamlessly with the elemental universe itself. Look at your phone. The instant you look, knowing arises of phone. Instantly it is seen. Yet, we do not see the empty space between the phone and the eyes. The act of seeing uses the eyes as instruments to receive light and image. That image is reflected upon the retina and then appears as a picture to be known. But between the phone and the eyes, there is an empty space. And that emptiness cannot be seen with the physical eye, can it? Each time we rely on the eye to see, it immediately sees form, the phone, the object, but it cannot see the clear emptiness in between. The eyes cannot see it, but the mind knows it. The formless life element within us knows that there is emptiness here. We know that there is a space between the phone and the eyes, not through sight, but through mind, because our mind is of one nature with that very emptiness. This knowledge, no one has ever explained this to us, yet we directly sense it. Within this clear emptiness, even darkness can enter. But understand, the darkness that arises is not the emptiness itself. The clear emptiness is the base, the foundation. There is nothing inside this radiant emptiness, yet darkness can pass through it. The clear emptiness and the darkness merge without conflict. Let me offer an illustration. This clear emptiness is the life element. When darkness passes through this pure, empty element, the clear emptiness gives rise to a faint, transparent layer, like a delicate film wrapping itself, called the knowing element. It is as if a bubble encloses itself, or as if a thin field of energy forms around pure space, allowing the function of perception to occur. When something comes into contact, it can then be known. Without this subtle membrane of the knowing element surrounding itself, the pure element could not recognize or perceive anything at all, because it is too pure, utterly unstained, beyond vibration or movement. The pure element by itself cannot know, but through this delicate energetic field, the knowing element, awareness arises. The reason I can speak like this is because I have been living in this way for more than 10 years, ever since realization dawned upon the pure element. It became clear that we have never truly been born into this world. The voice that speaks now is not me speaking. It is merely something functioning on my behalf, a tool, an instrument used for communication with human beings. This voice is not a real voice at all. It is simply a phenomenon at work. Yet no one has ever taught us the knowledge of awakening to the mind, so we have never known. If someone had taught us this truth since childhood, we would have long been free from suffering. As it is, we live in suffering. From birth, we enter the world in confusion and struggle through each day, restless from morning until night. We chase and strive endlessly, enslaved by pieces of paper, by society, by livelihood, and by this body itself. Having taken refuge in the body, we must find food to feed it. If it is not fed, it suffers. It feels pain and hunger. In truth, the body needs only one meal a day, just enough to sustain itself without hunger or discomfort. But I did not know this before. Like everyone else, I once believed myself to be a human being. My parents taught me to think, to remember, to believe that I was a person, a child, with family and relatives, living in this country, following society, custom, and culture. So I struggled constantly, a slave to paper, to money, until one day the question arose in my heart again and again: why was I born? Deep inside, the heart longed to be free, to not be born again. On the day I awakened, I saw back into the origin and journey of my own being. Every mind has its source and its path. In the very beginning, we were the element of pure, empty clarity, one and the same with the universal element. At that time, there were not even any stars. There was only pure, transparent emptiness, completely unified as one. Then, at a certain point, a division occurred. We might call that point the Big Bang. There was an explosion, a great bursting forth. Masses of elemental energy scattered out first, and these energetic elements came to envelop the pure element. Because of this, we began to dwell within these energetic fabricated elements, and through them we could experience. It is like a bubble. As I have explained before, imagine this so you can understand easily. The life element, the pure element, wanted to learn. That is why it expanded outward, why it burst open, simply to learn and experience all things. Do you know that all our minds are of one and the same essence? Every mind throughout the infinite universe is of one substance. Every living creature, every being, has a mind dwelling within it. We too have a mind dwelling within this body. The number of beings that have minds is beyond measure, infinite. But the number of minds that inhabit a human body is very small, because there are so few humans. How many kinds of aquatic creatures do you think there are? I would say millions. And how many in total? Do you know? From the tiniest to the largest, the number of aquatic creatures is infinite. And what about land animals, birds, those that live underground, those in the air, and even in outer space? How many are there? Countless, unthinkably many. So in the beginning, all these minds were one with the clear, empty essence, one with everything that exists, just like the emptiness of outer space. That very emptiness is the substance of all our minds. From that one essence they divided and became countless individual streams of consciousness, each its own, small and distinct, yet infinite in number. If we were to use a true analogy, the number of individual minds is greater than all the grains of soil on this earth. Think of the tiny specks of dirt beneath our feet. How many grains of earth do you think exist in this world? Countless, isn't it? That is what our collective minds are like, infinite beyond measure. And this is still just a small comparison, but let's use it. Each grain of soil on earth represents the mind of every being throughout the boundless universe. Countless, immeasurable, infinite. Now imagine picking up a single grain of soil between your fingers. That grain represents the mind that takes birth in a human vessel. The rest, the countless other grains, are the minds that inhabit the bodies of animals. I say this to help you see. In truth, there are also many minds that have not yet taken form in any living body, still floating, waiting for a vessel through which to experience existence. Suppose we say that this body is ours. What if, in this very moment, the earth were to quake and the buildings around us were to collapse? Instantly, this body would be gone, crushed, lifeless. There would not even be time to think or realize what had happened. There would only be a flash of pain, then nothing. The mind would have already left the body. The truth is, the mind never feels pain. It is never harmed. The body, too, is not truly harmed. It simply ceases to function. The heart stops beating and the body dies. But the mind, our life element, never dies. It simply moves on to find a new vessel, a new body to inhabit. So is the mind foolish? Not at all. The mind, our pure element, seeks to learn. It does not yet know that it is pure. Imagine this. We are that radiant, transparent element, innocent and untouched, like a newborn child who knows nothing. That is the nature of mind. When the pure element first comes into contact with vibration, with darkness and light, it does not yet understand what those things are. It has no function of knowing yet. So, in order to perceive and to come to know itself, what must it do? It must learn. But how can it learn when it has no form? How can something formless come to know itself? Can you see this? We are the pure element, formless and transparent, pervading the whole universe. Yet the pure element by itself knows nothing. It seeks wisdom. And what is wisdom? Wisdom is the urge to know what one truly is, and to understand what all things truly are. To know, there must be experience. The pure element, boundless, clear, without shape, wants to learn what it is, and to know everything. This is why the pure element gives rise to the process of learning. It is born out of the desire for wisdom. If you listen often to these teachings, you will begin to awaken. You will feel light, spacious, open. From the moment awareness turns inward and sees the processes of fabrication, the instruments at work, understanding deepens. You will begin to see the very tools you have been living through. The voice speaking in the mind, the knowing that knows by itself. Notice this now. You are hearing my voice, aren't you? See, it hears on its own. Where is the self in that? When you begin to observe inwardly and see the inner voice speaking by itself, there comes a quiet realization. Wait, this voice isn't me. And this knowing, it knows by itself. Then the mind becomes light, so light, as if it has slipped free from the identity of being a human being, and is now simply observing the body from outside. You see the body working, breathing, speaking, and wonder, who or what is moving it? You begin to realize, we are of a different nature altogether. At first, this realization feels like that, like stepping outside of the personhood you once believed yourself to be. Now, understand this further. Keep understanding it again and again, until the mind truly accepts it. When it does, everything becomes lighter, freer, more spacious. The mind grows light, easy, and unburdened. It no longer worries about anything at all. You go about your work and daily life, yet it feels as if there is no you living that life. Eating happens, yet it feels as though no one is eating. It simply eats by itself, as if someone unknown were doing it. Laughter arises, yet it is not you who laughs. It is simply something laughing. The voice that speaks right now, who is speaking? It is as though there is no me living in this world at all, and yet language is still needed to communicate that we dwell within this body. If we were to describe it, It is as if a spirit has come to inhabit this body. Using that word, inhabit, is actually quite fitting. It is as though we are like a spirit residing within this form. When the mind knows this truth, it becomes light and open, free from the burden of identity. There is such ease, no longer bound by suffering. When others become angry, hateful, vengeful, or violent, all that remains in us is compassion. One wonders, why do that? Why be foolish enough to suffer? Nothing belongs to anyone. If we awaken to the pure element, we will live together peacefully and joyfully. There will be no harm, only mutual care and sharing. There will be no suffering at all, for there is no self to suffer. Without me, what could possibly bring pain? Why would anyone fight over soil or water? Why would anyone harm or kill? When the illusion of self dissolves, there is no pride, no boasting, no sense of, I am good, I am powerful, I have merit, I have wealth. None of that remains. There is no me left in this world to be proud of anything. The body ages, it falls ill, it approaches death, yet it is not a problem. There is no feeling of suffering about it. When death comes, so be it. If pain arises, let it be. Go see a doctor. If it can be cured, cure it. If not, that's all right. Let it be. There is no resistance. Yet there remains a gentle care, as one might care for a house that is not truly one's own. While we live in it, we maintain it. But if the house catches fire and burns down, that's all. It's gone. So it is with the body. We inhabit it, so we feed it to keep it functioning and free from discomfort. But if one day there is no food, if the body grows thin and dies, then let it die. There is no suffering about it. Whatever arises, we simply know. Life continues. There is only knowing, knowing, knowing. Knowing without clinging, without ownership. Everything functions by itself. Speaking, working, feeling, thinking. Yet none of it belongs to me. Thoughts, feelings, and emotions still arise as before, but they are seen as mere appearances of nature. When dissatisfaction arises, it is not truly dissatisfaction. It is simply known in that way. When laughter arises, it is just known as laughter, not by anyone. When irritation arises, there is no one being irritated. There is only the knowing of that particular condition. This knowing does not assign meaning. It does not label an experience as anything. Before realization, there were still thoughts, emotions, and reactions, just as there are now. But now there is no self in any of them. There is no one owning or claiming these conditions. There is only knowing, pure, effortless knowing. And in that knowing, there is no suffering at all. When we feel light and open, lighter and more open, after a while, an understanding arises that there is nothing left that is me. And then it bursts open. The one that knows bursts apart. Thought explodes. The feeling of being human explodes. It all shatters into fine particles, leaving nothing behind. On that day when it all exploded into emptiness, there was only the pure element. The feeling that we are human was completely gone, shattered to nothing. At that moment, tears fell. The body collapsed. It fell while still standing. There was an urge to shout to the whole world, "Hey!" There is nothing at all. Everything is pure. There were no words in that state, but it wanted to cry out to the world. Why are we all so lost in delusion like this? There is no self in this world. Why be angry? Why hate? Why suffer about anything? There is nothing to suffer over. There are only natural conditions that are as they are. They are just that, things being themselves. This world, everything in it, moves and vibrates according to its nature. There is no self in any of these movements. Even as I speak now, there is no feeling that it is I who speaks. What are we deluded by? What are we seeking? The pure element, the life element within us, is nothing. It is not anything at all. It is pure. It is completely clear. And it remains this way all the time. Everyone must come to learn the knowledge of awakening to the mind. Please share my talks on the Panyawimutti channel so that everyone in this world can listen. Share as much as you can to give others the way out of suffering. That is the most precious gift. Spread this knowledge so that all may receive wisdom. When everyone gains understanding, the whole world will be free from suffering. Would you like to see a world where no one suffers anymore? A peaceful world, cool and calm, where there is no more birth. May this be the final lifetime for all of us. Do you wish it to be like that? Every one of us has a mind, but we do not know the mind. We have within us the life element, empty, clear, pure, where no suffering exists. Yet we do not know it. That is what is called ignorance. In the beginning, the life element, the pure element, had no form. We wanted to learn, but this clear and pure element did not know what it was, because it had no tools for fabrication. It had no sound, no image, no emotion, no act of knowing, no memory, nothing at all. To be able to learn and know anything, it had to create one function, something called the act of perception, like a thin bubble that wraps itself. Once this form appeared, this clear bubble could now perceive and respond. When something touches it, pung, a vibration arose. That vibration created the process of reaction and understanding. This condition that works like a bubble can also be called energy or mental fabrication. Let us call it the activity of mind. But the true mind, the true us, is the clear, empty space inside the bubble. That is what we truly are. The inner emptiness, clear, pure, and not anything. That is our true self. The surface of the bubble, however, is the condition we ourselves created to serve as an instrument for learning and experiencing, so that there could be something like a form. Without a form, we could not know anything. When this bubble-like form appeared, it could receive and it could fabricate. When something contacted it, perception arose. Yet it still could not understand what things were, because it had no physical body, no material structure to interact with. So it began to move, to be drawn toward, and to attach to material elements, clinging to the tiniest bit of matter. And then it began to divide and evolve, becoming single-celled life, then 2 cells, 3 cells, expanding and developing until it became human. From the very beginning up until now, we have changed bodies endlessly, to infinity. We have been everything already. If we think about it, our children are countless, millions upon millions. Our parents too are countless, millions upon millions. Each time we gain a new body, we gain new parents, new children, new relatives. We expand our lineage, we live, and then we die. Then we take on another body, get new parents, new children, and live again. Always seeking, always reproducing, always dying, and beginning again. And so we must ask, is this what we were born for? Were we born only for this? We are the element of empty, clear purity. Yet we have come to believe that we are aquatic beings. We have come to believe that we are land animals. We have come to believe that we are beings underground, in the air, and even in outer space. We have come to believe that we are human beings, even though we are not human at all. We have never truly been born into this world. We are the element itself. Please understand this well. This is a transmission from mind to mind. I have already said that the voice which is speaking right now is only a tool for communication, a means to tell stories and explain everything to help us understand. And where does understanding happen? It has no self, and yet understanding still arises, doesn't it? Keep understanding, but do not hold to the thought that it is you who understands, because there is no you who understands. It is simply a mental formation, an activity that arises in order to understand. That is what we call wisdom. Our mind seeks a very refined knowledge. This is what we call panya, or wisdom. It wants to know only one thing, to realize that all things are without self and not us. And it wants to understand that even what we call ourselves has no form and no identity either. We are the pure element. When we realize this completely, when this knowing fills the whole heart, the bubble that once surrounded our pure element bursts open, and the bubble is no longer there. It becomes one with the entire universe, the clear, pure emptiness. This pure emptiness has never been born. Just knowing this is enough. It has always been this way from the very beginning, and it is still this way now. Let me continue with an illustration. The clear and empty space before us has already created the function of perception, and the process of fabrication has already arisen. Now, when darkness passes through, our life element, this clear and luminous essence within us, takes hold of it. It grasps it and believes, I am this darkness, because it wants to learn. It clings to everything. It merges with everything. When darkness passes through, it merges with the darkness and believes, I am darkness. That is how learning begins. From that arise the ideas of good and evil, merit and sin, happiness and suffering, all things that human beings have made up and held on to. But if we truly see the truth, we will realize that none of these things really exist. Even the sense of I does not truly exist. What would we say then? In the pure element, there is no movement at all. It does not go or come. It is never born and never dies. There is no merit in it and no sin. There is no good or evil, no wholesome or unwholesome. There is no happiness and there is no suffering. In the pure element, none of these things exist. Yet we keep wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. But do you know? In the pure element, there are none of these things. It has no form or appearance, no color, no smell, no size. It merges completely with everything. We are this pure element. Awaken to the knowing mind. Realize it directly. You have within you the pure element, yet you do not recognize it. That is truly unfortunate. Win this game, and you will no longer suffer. Then this world will become a world where all can live together in peace and harmony. But if you are still playing with fabrications, still holding to the belief that you are human, still believing that the voice speaking now, I am the one speaking, I am the one thinking, if you still cling to the voice, cling to mental images, cling to emotions, cling to memories, cling to the act of knowing itself, then as long as you depend on these things, as long as you hold on to them, you will continue to suffer. You have not yet graduated. It is like a pure and innocent child who goes to school with the goal of finishing. That child learns everything within a single week. He completes his study. But what about us? We have studied our entire lives. Have we finished yet? We are still seeking a way out of suffering, still not knowing the mind, still not realizing that we are the pure element. We continue to search for methods, going into forests and mountains, doing everything possible in the hope of ending suffering and awakening. And now, at this age, after so many years of practice, What has happened? Haven't we studied enough? Haven't we practiced enough? Have we completed it yet? What are we still seeking? Do you realize that this world does not truly exist? This body does not truly exist. The voice that speaks, the mental images that appear, the emotions, the act of knowing, the memories, none of these have any real self. None of them belong to us in any way. Everything that is being spoken right now, can you see that it is not I who is speaking? It speaks by itself, naturally. Just like the heart, it beats by itself. The lungs breathe by themselves. The blood circulates on its own. Everything functions naturally. It hears by itself, doesn't it? Then where is this self we keep believing in? Here's another analogy. The clear, empty space in front of us contains air. Air is a natural element that dwells within this clear emptiness. Suppose carbon dioxide represents what we call bad, and oxygen represents what we call good. Whether the air changes toward the bad side or the good side, whether it becomes turbulent or calm, the air is still merely something that exists within the clear, empty space. Whatever happens to the air, it cannot affect the clear emptiness itself. Isn't that true? Our mind is just like this. Emotions, whether wholesome or unwholesome, cannot touch or harm the mind. The pure element is already pure. But we have become deluded, clinging to the very movements and expressions of that pure element itself. Do you understand? The voices in the mind may speak in good or bad ways. The thoughts may move toward pleasure or pain, joy or sorrow, gain or loss. But all these are simply transient conditions, appearances that arise and pass away. Yesterday you were in a bad mood. Where is it now? Yesterday you felt happy. Where has that gone? In a past life, you may have been very unwholesome, filled with anger and delusion. Where is that person now? In a past life, you may have been good, noble, virtuous. Where is that now? A moment ago, you might have been the best version of yourself, filled with goodness. Where is that now? And maybe a moment ago, you were at your worst, filled with suffering. Where is that now? Right now, you might be extremely happy or deeply miserable. But where is that now? Where is it truly? Right now, where is this very moment? At this present moment, we say there is a sound appearing, don't we? Let me ask you this. Everything that has been spoken so far, did it not all arise from this sound that is here now? This is what we call the present, isn't it? We call this moment, this instant, the present, right? And in the present moment, there is only sound, isn't there? Only sound is appearing right now. Then where have all those past stories gone? Let me put it another way. Try counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Where did numbers 1 through 7 go? Even 8 has already vanished. The sound that appears right now. It's only sound, isn't it? And this sound appears right now, this very moment. Where is it exactly? Can you touch it? You cannot. The sound itself doesn't exist as a thing. Even the voice that is speaking at this very moment has no self, no substance at all. So what are we clinging to? We were not born into this world to cling to anything, because we have no form. Who can see that there is no self in this voice, and that this voice itself has no self to be held onto? When this voice has no form, no self, then who is it that knows right now? You are hearing this voice. Who is it that knows? Can you see that it knows the sound by itself, doesn't it? Ah, if it knows on its own, then where is the me? We have only come to depend on these tools, to depend on the act of perception, to depend on voice as a means of communication. Isn't that enough now? All this dependence and clinging, none of it has ever had a self. Let everything go completely. It is not us. It is not ours. And then we will be free from suffering, completely, permanently. May all of you awaken swiftly to your own pure, empty, radiant life element. If you're interested in these teachings on awakening, mind observation, and transcending suffering through wisdom, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your insights in the comments, provide productive feedback, and if you find this content valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.